Ramil, Amyr, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How about you, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm still kind of buzzing and geeked about the inaugural edition of Case Closed.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought that went really well. It's a really great mix of folks.
Yeah, I like it. It's dope. It's dope. Yep.
Yeah. I came to Ike and I said, hey, man, I think it's about time for an all-star kind of up-and-coming, folks, in this space to do a show. And we started talking and it's like, man, I think solo would be down. And so we had the conversation and the rest is history. It's up and running. We've been talking about it for a while, so I'm just glad to see it do as well as it did even the first time. And it wasn't like we were talking about there's certain topics that in the manosphere space tend to get a lot of views.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't that kind of topic, but it still got, I think, good views, especially for the first show.
Yeah, I mean, because it wasn't one of those topics, but it was still a controversial. It was still something that people had emotion about. So it was still a good. Every topic don't have to be about women to hit over here. People think it does, but really don't. I've done videos on all type of stuff, and I get the same numbers, but not all the time though. Not all the time.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I was going to ask you about that. You're an interesting, creator because your content is actually very diverse. You have a lot of different kind of stuff. I mean, I was on your Instagram, and you had some pictures of some. It looked like some pretty healthy food.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm a diverse person. I'm what you call a Renaissance man because first of all, the picture you saw on Instagram, all that was my greens in the morning to get juice. Like every morning I juice kale, lettuce, carrots, apples, all types of greens to get me energized for the day. So that's what that. But as far as my content, man, the reason why it's so diverse, I guess, is I've just read so much things, so many subjects, studied so many things. I've had so much time on my hands. It's just I knew from a young age I wanted to get as much knowledge as I can. So I've studied a variety of things. Diet, nutrition, plant-based diets, music. I love music. I just knew that law, business. I just knew that I wanted to be successful, and I had to. And like from 17 to even to this day, I'm an avid reader. I love studying. I love learning new things. But it's no use if you're just gonna learn it. You gotta put it to use. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I apply it as well. I love gaining knowledge and I love applying it. And I love making people mad when they see me apply
it. Now, so you're younger than I am, and one of the reasons why getting involved in this space, the manosphere was important to me, was because it seems like it's the only place where conversations about interpersonal relationships, and the ones that I'm most concerned about are the ones between Black men and Black women. Mm-hmm. It's like the only place where those conversations are happening in a frank. It's the only place that you'll hear a particular side of the argument. Let's put it that way.
Our side.
Yeah, right.
But the Black man, that's the only side. That's why the space is so special, and that's why it continues to grow slowly but surely. And that's what attracts people over here. Once they come over here, they're over here pretty much for life almost, because nowhere in society do Black men are able to voice their concerns or say what they want to say with no restriction, pretty much, and amongst other black men. See, black men used to not talk to each other like that before the internet. You know, we just used to mean mug each other. So this is the first of its kind. You know, especially probably in America. You know what I mean? Black men never congregated on this level, probably since the 20s and the 30s when we were doing our thing on the business side then. So this is like a renaissance going on right now. So and it's well needed. That's why I'm glad I'm a part of it.
Yeah, and you know, I have an 8-year-old, and it's very concerning to me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like him to have minimal struggle, less struggle than I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, finding someone to make a life with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he gets to that age. And so, you know, that's part of the reason for my interest in the space. Another part of my interest is, though I think that there's a lot of conversation about getting on your purpose and being about something other than just chasing women, you know, that whole, you know, if you chase women, you'll lose money and women. But if you chase money, you'll never lose women.
Yeah.
That whole thing, I think is true. Of course it's true. We know it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Even when folks try to say it's not the case, oh no, that's not really what's going on. It's hard to find examples to the contrary of that.
Mm-hmm.
So there is talk about getting on your purpose, but there's not a lot of talk about discovering what your purpose is. And
that's true.
And that's something that I think that's something that I can offer, that I do offer, something I talk to young folks about frequently. It seems to me that people think that you're supposed to just magically discover what you're supposed to do in life. And that's just not the way it works. If you're sitting around waiting for your life to begin, you know, like I frequently tell folks, wake up, this is your life. You know, if you sleepwalking, you're not going to get anywhere, and you're not going to discover what really makes you tick. What have been some of the things that you've done in your life to try to get closer and closer to things that really make you tick?
I mean, you bring up a good point. It's not a lot of discussion about finding a purpose. I mean, I do think that's an individual journey, but having help along the way there's no value amount you can put on there. And what helped me was consistently trying different things. I've tried a lot of things, man. I've tried a lot of things. I went to school. I was in the military. I did. I've read a lot of stuff. I was in the streets. I've always tried to find my avenue doing different things, and I failed so many times. And I think that's a process you have to go through to find your purpose. Most people are never gonna find that purpose. Most people are going to get caught up in the trajectory of school, work, die, and they're never going to discover what they really was good at because they're scared to fail. So if you want to find your purpose, in my opinion, I think you have to try a lot of different things, with 100% try, and be willing to fail. Because in school, if you fail, it's messed up. Because if you fail, then you're done. But actually, you're supposed to fail. That's how you figure out what you're good at. So a lot of people don't find their purpose because they don't get out here and fail at things and figure out what they're good at. So, I mean, I've had 10,000 failures before I've had any success. So that's how.
Yeah, it reminds me of that the Michael Jordan statement about he goes through details how many shots he's missed and how many game-winning shots he's missed, and and all the failures. But he says that was. I'm botching the quote, but he says that those failures were necessary to his success.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be okay with falling on your face.
Oh yeah.
And making mistakes, making big mistakes.
Yes. Yes. Even if it's in front of everybody. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much for watching my video so far. If you'd like to support, there are several ways to do so below. Also, likes are free. Please comment, share, and subscribe. Now back to the video.
It's in front of everybody. You know what I mean? I failed in front of a lot of people before. You know, but at the end of the day, that lesson is so valuable to me today. Those lessons I learned, it just you can't put a dollar amount. So you can't be scared to fail. People are scared to fail. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to look bad. But if you're gonna keep living like that, you're not gonna get to your full potential, man. You're gonna miss out, and it just sucks that so many people go through life just not giving a shot at their true potential. You know, and I think that's contributing to how civilization is today. The downward spiral, in my opinion, that is happening, especially in America, because people are not taking the chance, they're not taking the risk, and you don't do that, you know, you end up helpless.
Yeah. So, so can you talk to us a little bit about how you grew up?
Yes. So I'm from the city of Chicago. Born and raised. I lived in multiple places in Chicago. I lived in the suburbs of Chicago. I've lived in the inner city of Chicago. I've seen so many sides of Chicago. My mother and father were together. They split when I was 6, and I lived with my mother until the age of 15 to 16. And after that, she said, "You're bad. You got to go. You're just my bad. What's the language used on here? I don't know. I don't want to.
Man, you say what you got to say, man.
Okay, it was just like you're bad. You gotta go. You know what I'm saying? You're a badass. So I went to live with my dad at 16, which is probably one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. Now that I got older and realized the lessons I learned from him, and he didn't even really verbally teach me anything. It was just basically watching him. So. From 16 to 18, I lived with him. And my upbringing, I mean, my parents, you know, they were good people. My dad passed away at 19, but my dad was a hustler. You know what I mean? He was a go-getter. You know what I'm saying? He was a businessman, but I didn't really get to see the businessman side of him. By the time I came up to age, he fell off. He caught a charge with the federal government on some paperwork, real estate stuff. So he fell off. He got to alcoholism. But the crazy part is, my dad was in his prime. He was in the newspaper and everything. So I would see clips of those in the 80s of him doing his thing. He was a real estate person, but I never got to see that side of him. By the time I came up to age, he was alcoholic and he lost everything. But he was a go-getter and he always had his own. So I seen that, and seeing him, even when he was down and out, he was always still had his own. So that motivated me I knew that I could do the same, and I want to do it better. You know what I mean? But so that's where I got my drive from, knowing that he never had to. He had his own thing all the time. And then my mother, she was a professional working person. You know, she was always working. So when I was living with her, we had a house to ourselves. Long periods of time. She was always working, you know what I mean? And but yeah, I had a pretty decent upbringing. You know, it's just I definitely got caught up in the wrong crowd a few times, and hit my head on a couple of times. But all in all, I love Chicago, and it made me the person I am today.
So what got you started on YouTube and I mean, for the size that your platform is, and it's steadily growing, but for the size, I mean, I'll click on one of your lives and you'll have anywhere from 300 to 800-900 people, live viewers. Consistently you have a lot of live viewers. And other folks that have platforms that are your size, that's not the case. They don't have that many live viewers. Why do you think it is? So first of all, how did you get started? And then the second thing is, why do you think it is that folks seem to engage so much. I mean, in the chat, it's always wild.
Oh yeah.
When you're your platform.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I got started on YouTube. What was it? 2015, I think, or 2016. I don't know. I don't know when once like 5-6 years ago. And the reason why I came on YouTube is because me and my friends started doing YouTube videos first, right? And we had this thing called Urban Citizen. We were doing our thing, and we did like 4 videos, and then we stopped. You know, you and your friends always start something, then you stop. So I come back a couple months later, and I look at those YouTube videos, and one of the videos had like 1,000 views. I didn't even know. I'm like, what? I guess one of them caught on an algorithm or something, and so I said, oh, hold up, people be watching these videos. But I took note of it, but I didn't do anything. Because at that time, I got out of prison a year before that. So I'm over trying to get my life together. And I did end up getting my life together. I ended up starting a real estate wholesale business. And like in the matter of months, like about a little bit more than a year after I got out the joint, I had a booming business, wholesale real estate business. And when my business started to take off, I started to realize, I started looking at my friends like, okay, I just served time in the joint, you know, because I'm an idiot. And I got out, and within a year, why am I doing better than all you guys? You guys still had your freedom. You guys, you know, got your certifications, whatever the case. Why am I doing better? So then I started to realize, like, hold up. You know, all my friends are black men. So I'm starting to realize, like, yo, why y'all so docile? You know, that's what started to click to me. Because I started, you know, I'm starting to make money and I'm not, you know, going to work or anything. So I'm like, and everybody else, and I just got the joints. People looking at me like, whoa, you going back doing stuff in the streets? I'm like, no, I'm just flipping houses. I'm wholesaling houses off a course I bought on the internet. You know what I mean? So what happened was I was like, yo, why are black men not understanding the world is here for the taking? So I started to realize that. I started to get better at business. And I thought back to those YouTube videos that me and my homeboy started to make. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, man. I'm gonna talk my shit. I'm gonna talk my shit to black men. And I'm gonna let them know what I found out, that the world is yours. Like, cause when I started my business, you know, I was coming to contact with all types of people, white folks, Arab people, and all that type of stuff. And even they were surprised when a black dude would show up at the closing table. I'm like, why is it such a surprise that a black man is owning his own stuff? Like, I'm like, yo, this is crazy to me. So it made me realize that in this country, we are lacking a little bit, you know what I mean, as far as drive and not get out and taking the risk. So that was the drive to my YouTube channel. I said, okay, look, I think I know how to work this. I'm gonna make some videos talking about business and things like that. And I was talking about dating as well. I was talking about dating at first, and I thought I was going to go into the dating realm, because another thing that kind of pissed me off is how, you know, black men are so subservient to women. So, but anyway, I started making these videos because I just felt there was a need that black men need to hear somebody tell them, like, look, man, I just got out the joint. I just did all the other stuff. I just started a business. I'm already booming. You can do the same thing. And I was trying to fill a niche. I didn't know about the manosphere. I didn't know about O'Shea, any of this stuff, right? I just started making videos. They were getting kind of a little bit of views, but I was working my business anyway, so I wasn't really taking it serious. And so I was making videos in my free time. The one video I think O'Shea commented on, I didn't know who he was. And I started watching his shit. Like, oh, we got another dude who thinks his head straight. Because I don't know if you ever seen O'Shea's earlier videos, his earlier. And you know, so we started commenting back and forth. Then one day he reached out to me, said, hey, let's do a collaboration or something. And from then on, you know, I just started taking it a little bit more seriously, and I kept on going with my message. And that's how I got started. And as far as why the audience is so engaged, so people gotta understand how you build. When you build something, you want to create a community, okay? You want to create a family. Like a lot of the people who watch my videos, I've talked to offline. I've you know, gave a lot of services to people offline, you know, whether it's you know, consultations or, you know, the herbs or things like that. Oh, business. I've done a lot of business with my subscribers. I've created a family. So a lot of times people want to build their channel based off beef or drama or things like that. When you build your channel off of those things, you are attracting an audience who only coming over there because you're talking about this person, or you talking about that person. I didn't do that. I made sure people who came to my channel came to because of what I was talking about, right? And also being open. Also, they can hit me up. Okay, you can hit me on the email. You know what I mean? So a lot of the people who watch me are been with me since day one because I was responding to all the emails. I eventually had to start charging niggas because it got too much. But you know what I'm saying? I let them hit me up on all the social medias. Like I created a family unit. Like so. People feel like they can reach out to me, and you create a community and you create a channel based on you and what you're doing. You don't create a channel based on talking about this nigga or talking about that, because they're not coming to you for you. They're only coming to you for what you got to say about the person they don't like. And then when you do another video about something else, they're not gonna listen to what you're saying. So you gotta be very mindful of what type of audience you create, what type of audience you want to resonate with, because if you create the wrong type of audience, you're not gonna be anywhere. And this is why my channel will be small, but a lot of people with those big subscribers, they got the subscribers because they did some viral video about some bull crap, and you got 100,000 views, and they got 2,000 subscribers off that video, but they only came because you went viral for that one thing. And that's why I kind of don't like going viral and things like that. Like when I start to get too much traction, I fall back because I don't want fake people. I want people to know who I am. I want to grow slowly. I like organic growth. All right, so I could be a Kevin Samuels if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Me and Kevin used to work together. I'm the reason why he is where he's at now. You know what I'm saying? Because of the formula we did, that's what he's using right now to blow up. So it's just that I don't want to create that type of audience. Because as soon as, if you want to go a different direction, they're not going to go with you. You know what I'm saying? I can go any direction I want because the people that fuck with me really fuck with me and they trust me. You got to build trust too. People trust that I'm going to give them the correct information. And that's why even when I do streams, when it comes down to like health or business or anything, I always have my sources ready. I always open for challenge. I open it up. Anybody can challenge me. Be transparent as possible. People just feel like I'm the homie. You know what I mean? And when you build a brand based off of that, people going to ride with you for the long run. So I hope I explained that well.
No, that was solid gold, man. I was going to mention that, watching Kevin, I've heard him shout you out a few times.
Yeah. We did a show last year. We did a business show, and this is kind of like Shark Tank. We did it for 8 weeks straight. Same formula he's doing now, but he said I don't know if you ever seen it, but we had it was me and him. We had the men would call in with their business plan. Same thing, I had the females call in now. Say they want a high value man. Well, before that, it was the Lion's Den show. It was me and him, and the guys would call in with their business plans. But unfortunately, guys, I don't know what it is. Black men just not ready. They don't take it seriously. They would call in, wouldn't even know the numbers to their business, wouldn't even know the service, it was just it wasn't a disaster because it showed a good example, but it was the same thing he's doing now, except with the men calling in. And after week 8, after we seen people not take it seriously, we had like at least 50 some callers. Only 2 of them had a solid business plan. And we say, okay, we got to stop this. So then a week later, he takes the same formula that we did for the Lions Den and start doing it for the females. And as soon as he did that, it all took off. You know what I mean? And I love to see it. You know what I mean? But so that's how that happened. But Kevin was working with the guys first, but nobody. We would get like 300 people watching, and guys weren't taking it serious with the business plan. So I understand why he wanted to stop and why he moved over to the females. Yeah.
I have to say about that, one of the constant criticisms that he receives from, women that are claiming that he hates women, especially black women, that he's harsh, to women, and all of that, is that you should have seen him the 3 years prior when he was roasting bros.
Yes, and man, even on the show we did, we was, if you want to talk about brutal, we was let him have it. Like, hold up, what you talking about, dude? You want to detail a car for $10? Why are you gonna make money with that? Like, what, are you stupid? You know, like we was like giving it to these brothers, but nobody want to talk about that. Nobody act like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, and even outside of the show, like you said, he was roasting the men up, all type of stuff. So people they're just being disingenuous, man, because he gave the same smoke to everybody.
Yeah, you know, he did a show. Let's see here, not this. What was it? September 19th, I think it was. What's today's date?
27. Today's 27.
Yeah, right. So it was right. So it was the 19th, and it was a show about you know, basically, you know, if you want black men back in the church, this is what you have to do.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I seen that running. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you know, I've watched a bunch of his shows, hours and hours of footage. I mean, he's such a good presenter, and the show is so polished.
Yeah.
It's like a work of art. I mean, just the way that he conducts the show. His monologue is always appropriate, clever, you know, thought out, but also conversational. He just has like a certain kind of rapport. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, just watching the show for that reason. And then obviously I watched just for the same reason, because, you know, it's like he's the only one in America defending black men. It seems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On that level. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, you know, so I want to support him for that. But I'll tell you, man, that show about the church, man, because I believe that what he would want more than anything is to be able to actually sit down with church leaders and detail some things and actually provide some feedback for actual change, you know, for some things that actually would, you know, bring back, you know, more black men to church, to, you know, the black church.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah. But I think he want that more than anything. It was one of the things that made me a little perturbed by, let's see here, the Creflo's comments. It's like, dude, you know, he would sit down with him in a second, because I think that whole thing is important to him.
It's not going to happen. I'll say that right now. It's not going to happen. Yeah. You see, I grew up in the church, and you know, my beliefs aside, the church, the men in the church, the ones who, like the ministers and the pastors, they don't want to give up that power. All right, so that's why the church, you know, you have domain over all these women. The church is 70-80% women. There all this tax-free money coming in, and then, you know, if you would give black men some sort of leeway or sovereignty, you're gonna have to share that power. And what I found is that this is one of the reasons why I stepped away from the church. Is they don't want to give up that power, even if it's going to help the church become better, even if it's going to balance the scales. Especially the black church. Black church has received about $420 billion since 1980s, I think I read, and they have not. The community doesn't reflect the money that they've received. So it's just so many. It's a shame, because the church used to be a pillar in the community where they would have, you know, scholarships for people. They'll have, you know, it was organized. I have community help, but now it's just like, especially in black neighborhoods, I'm really talking about. You know, it's just a club now. You know what I mean? So that's why Creflo Dollar reacted the way he reacted. That he's a representation of a lot of church leaders. From my experience, they don't want to share that power. They don't want to, you know. Because I watched the stream. I watched a little bit of the stream. He's right. You know, if you do let the men come in, there will be more revenue. There will be more stability, more structure, less single mothers, all the other stuff. But them pastors and the ministers, they don't want to share that power. And on top of that, the pastors and the ministers, they having all the little freaky sex they want too with the congregation. You know, so so I understand what he's saying, but I don't think these ministers and these pastors, I just don't think they're gonna oblige to that. I just don't think so.
Yeah, you know, and of course, what it is that we're saying just doesn't apply to all churches. Doesn't apply to all black churches. There are some, churches that they'll tell you the truth, and the pastor is very much about developing men, about sharing power, and he himself is not running around in the church doing all kind of stuff in there kind of for the right reasons, actually. I know a pastor, I interviewed him on the same series of Conversations with Dr. Thunder. His name's Joel Brooks, and he pastors a church in Kalamazoo, Michigan, church that I attended, and I worked for him, and we've remained close, and friends since I left the church years and years ago, a long time ago, because I haven't lived in Kalamazoo for so long. He's going to be on a panel with me. So I've had him on a couple panels on O'Shea's channel. We did a couple kind of black church, sort of conversations on O'Shea's channel. We're going to do another one, a panel discussion thing, another one on Bernard Riley's channel this Friday.
What's up?
Yeah. And, I think it's important to that's a reason why I'm involved in both spaces, in the church and in the manospheres, because I think that, if we can bring some things together and we can actually sit down and have some conversations, and, stuff's not going to change overnight, but at least having the conversation, I think is important.
Yeah, I do as well. I do think, now, I do have mixed feelings. I'm not gonna lie, I do have mixed feelings about the church, but like I said, I remember when I was growing up, like if the church can get back to what it used to be, when they were actually trying to help like men and development, the values of the community would just be so high, I do think, that used to be like the community center, you know what I mean?
Right.
And if it gets back to that point, then I'll even be willing to open to at least talk and do business. But I just think, it's the way it is now, so hopefully you guys can come up with cause I seen the last panel, O'Shea, when you guys had, there was a lot of people watching that too. We had all the pastors on there. I watched a little bit of that, and I do think it has some value to provide. I just, we just need men in there who are open-minded and willing to share.
Yeah, both of those pastors, they're actually going to be on Bernard's channel also. The other guy's John Coates, and he pastors a church here in Columbus. I live in Columbus, Ohio.
Ain't not far from me. Shoot, I'm in Indiana right now. So
yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. So what are you? What are your goals with YouTube? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? When will you feel like, I set out to accomplish what I wanted to? I feel like I'm on the right path at least.
I've already accomplished what I wanted to accomplish on YouTube, honestly. I mean, once, and that happened when because I originally came to YouTube because I was tired of seeing black men not understanding that the world is yours, right? I feel as though I've already changed. I've at least sparked the change, especially with Kevin Samuels blowing up. Kevin Samuels will tell you himself, you know what I'm saying? I'm not at the 100% reason, but I am a lot of the reason why he was able to go to where he's at right now, right? He'll tell you this himself. And as far as the other management members I've helped out with my channel as well, we've reached over millions of people, you know what I mean? And so once the message is out that black men are, the world is yours, I've already accomplished what I want to accomplish. Everything right now is just icing on the cake. You know what I mean? The fact, I'm glad I can go live and get people to message me, because really that's why sometimes I'll take breaks. I won't go live for like a month. I'll come back because I've really done what I wanted to do on YouTube and I'm satisfied. Everything here is icing on the top. So right now, what I just do, I just help other people out. You know, I let everybody come on, I share the platform. I never wanted to blow up and just be, I would rather help other people blow up. So right now I'm just using what I have to, you know, just basically I'm just coasting right now. And then I'm starting other things. Like I got a nonprofit coming through. So I'm just using my platform and following to do things off of YouTube. I have a nonprofit that's going to come out in a couple months. It's going to be a legal fund for Black men across this country who are unjustly charged, unjustly convicted. And then after that, when we handle that, go be able to fund civil litigation against the people who've done them wrong. So, because Black men, we don't have any institutions, we don't have anything like that. We don't have everybody else got these nonprofits and charities and all this stuff. Women, other races of men, we don't got nothing. So that's coming down the pipe. I'm going to use my platform to get that off the ground. I've used my platform to get my other media website off the ground, which I got going on, which we just interviewed. I'm pretty sure you know you're not familiar with Project Pat, but we just interviewed. He's a big artist. I got that going on. So I'm using my platform really to leverage other things I want to do and to also help other people who need like a little boost, whatever I can offer. And I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish on YouTube, honestly, in the 5-6 years I've been on here.
All right, and so so I know that you have a not just an interest in music, but that you pump and dump, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When it comes to music, I love music. I'll be the first to tell you though, I'm not a musician. I don't know how to play instruments, anything. I'm a beat maker. Okay, I make beats. Okay, so give me a sample or give me, a couple sounds. I'll make you the best hip hop beat ever. But you're a musician. Okay, I am just. I don't even want to call myself a producer. I just have I just have an ear. You know what I mean? I just. It's kind of hard for me to explain. But I guess like the pump and dump song and things like that, I can do that too. But my main thing when it comes to music is just making beats. All right, and I sell beats online. I got a company. I got a couple of websites where I got instrumentals for sale. Those other businesses I run and sell them to artists and things like that. But I'm just a beat maker, man, and I appreciate good music. But I'm not gonna get up here and tell you I'm a musician. You know what I mean? I got my keyboard right here. I can make a beat. I can play that couple chords, but I can't. Not a real musician, but I can make a beat though. You know what I mean? I think I even told you this before. I looked at some of your old albums. You know what I mean? And how do you feel about sampling? I want to know what do you feel about how do you feel about hip hop beats that use like samples and then just
that's fine with me. I mean, the classic hip hop. I mean, I've been a big hip hop head my whole life. But the classic stuff always sampled like, great recordings, like jazz stuff and all kinds of, very, very eclectic kind of mix of music. It was always really good music, and that's part of what that's actually what kind of captured me. Was the music that was being sampled. And I think to the extent that it can provide a sort of a gateway, even, to folks that have an interest or would have an interest in jazz or whatever, by hearing, a sample, I think it's positive. I don't have an issue with it. I mean, we know that basically making money on records, that day is over. Everything has been irreversibly, I guess you could call it damaged, changed, altered, whatever, by all the streaming services. But obviously what got that started was the file sharing. Napster and Line and all that. Yeah. So that's what kind of destroyed the record industry. Now it's changed into something else. And although I think it's a positive thing that perhaps more people have a way to get their music out to more people. There's not the same sort of gatekeepers that are sort of blocking as many folks from maybe realizing their dreams or whatever, however you want to contextualize it. But I think there's pluses and minuses to that. The plus to having gatekeepers is you sort of control the quality. So only a certain level of stuff is ever going to be able to get through. The minus of gatekeepers is, as I said, it limits the number of folks that can get through. But I mean, one of the issues we have now is that there are so many artists. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff, but there's a lot of garbage too.
A lot of garbage out here, and you're right. And you bring up a good point. The gatekeepers are a good thing. And I can say this for a lot of other industries I won't go into, but the gatekeepers, I think, are a good thing. Is that only the people who are willing to fight should get up there. I think you should bring the gatekeepers back. You can keep a little bit of the what's it called when you level the playing field, or decentralization, but I think it needs to be some sort of gatekeeper, and everything. The quality of a lot of content in general, media in general, has went down because you didn't let everybody in. Everybody devalue everything. So I feel as though we need to bring the gatekeepers back. But before we go deeper into that, I did want to ask you something. How would you feel about, so somebody said if somebody wanted to sample, of course, paperwork is good and everything, you would be okay with somebody sampling Dr. Thunder's thing?
You sample anything. Yeah, that's totally cool.
Okay.
I would take it as I would be flattered.
Okay. And I'm talking about in general. Any like somebody say, hey, you like this piece right here, but I can use it as a sample. Pay you this amount. Okay. Because there's some artists who do not want. They would decline samples. You know what I mean? Like a lot of artists in the industry talk about this. Yeah.
Again, like I said, there are limited ways to make money with recordings now. So I think unless you are one of the artists, unless you're Taylor Swift, or somebody like that, or Drake, and I heard Drake was copying the pump and dump dance.
He did copy the pump and dump dance. Crazy, man. Somebody told me in the industry he watches this Manosphere. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we know a bunch of folks on the low are watching. We know that's true. I mean, even like Kwame Brown, and I mean, a lot of his commentary, things that he wasn't saying, prior. I mean, it seems like the mama's cooking. It seems like he's borrowed from Jap.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are watching the low key. They can't say anything, but a lot of celebrities, a lot of powerful people, they are watching. They take notes, and as we keep growing, more people are going to watch. And that's another reason why I keep going. Like I said, when it comes to the YouTube, I don't need the money. I don't need a lot of this stuff right now. Like, I'm just for passion. Like, I own my house, so it's like it's not like I gotta worry about mortgage or rent. So it's like right now I'm really doing this out of the passion and out of the love, and that's what continues in the impact it's making. You know what I mean? Because I know people are watching. So that's what keeps me going, and not just saying fuck this. You know what I mean? Because I like the fact that powerful people are watching. And where this can go in the future and things like that's what motivates me now.
So our former president.
You said former or formal?
No, former.
Okay.
Former president of the United States. So I'm a third party guy, and so. So I didn't vote for either one of them, but I saw them as basically the same thing. In a matter of speaking, basically the same thing. although I thought that some of the policies that were put in place under Trump's presidency, which actually I thought were pretty positive, it seemed in a lot of numbers were going in a direction that seemed to be positive for the Black community in a way that I hadn't seen. However, the two-party system, I think really it's a one-party system with two factions. It's really a shell game. You find out, you go behind the scenes and you find out that they're all like best buddies and stuff. They was cussing each other out in front of the camera, and then borrowing yachts from each other for their daughter's wedding and stuff like that. So that seems to be just a standard fare, and it's totally. I've gotten to the point where well, first of all, I don't think that either Democrats or Republicans are going to be helpful to our issues, Black men's issues in particular. It seems that Dems and Republicans have been jointly complicit in getting us where we are, and every opportunity that there seems to be to use some social movement to push the needle in a particular direction seems to leapfrog us in favor of other folk. And I don't know, maybe that sounds cynical. It's just from observing, being around long enough and seeing certain kinds of social movements. Everybody's saying right now, oh yeah, but this time it's different. This time, with the Black Lives Matter stuff that's happening now, oh, this is different. It's different this time. This is different than the other times that this happened, and then no real change, happened for the Black community in general, Black men in particular. So, politically, where do you kind of find yourself?
I'm not neither parties, but I will say, like, if I had to choose one, the only reason why I'm saying choose one, because at the end of the day, the two-party system, our two wings of the same bird, but this country's going to always operate off that. So it's always going to be one or the other. So if I had to choose one, it would definitely be Republican, definitely be conservative. But I don't agree with everything they do at all. Trump actually did a hell of a job. He had Black unemployment at the lowest ever. A lot of Black people were making money. A lot of people were getting good jobs, things like that. And Latinos were benefiting as well. But I'm not either party, but I do have a vitriol for the liberal side. I do think that the way they think and the way they operate is trash and it's horrible. And even though the politicians might be on the same side, the people separate themselves between Republican and Democrat a lot of times. And people on the liberal side really get on my nerves because the fact that they think everything's supposed to be free, the fact that they want the government to help them with everything, the fact that they don't want to think for themselves, and I just really don't like the liberals. I'm just gonna put it like that. I think the way they think is just, I just don't understand why would you not want to help yourself, But that doesn't mean I'm conservative as well. I'm not. Conservatives got their stuff too, but at least they're about business. At least they're about helping yourself. At least they're about start a business or be the best at your job and make your money and live your own life in freedom. See, liberals want to take away your freedom. I don't like that. They just drop of a dime. What we're going through right now is liberal policies. But politically, I don't have an allegiance to any sides. I just know that if you have a strong business and you have a decent capital, you can buy any politician. They're all for sale.
Yep, that's the American way.
And you can buy it. something you mentioned O'Shea earlier.
I found myself becoming more and more Black nationalist. And it's my journey has been really interesting. I mean, I've been more conservative. I started out more of a sort of progressive, more liberal-minded, and then I became more conservative because I saw a lot of things that didn't seem to make sense to me. In particular, I'm a Christian. Okay, so the first thing I want to say about that is, in the space, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that I'm Christian. Nobody ever takes what I'm saying to them as like I'm judging somebody, or like everybody's always very generous has been very generous with my commentary, and I say what I think. And I think in the space, I think it's important to have a place where folks that have different ideas can get together and actually have conversations, and nobody ever gets to the place where it's like, well, screw you, you can jump in a lake. Yeah. Everybody seems to understand that folks actually genuinely are concerned, and they're sharing the stuff that they're sharing because, it at least means something to them, But, I'm Christian, and I'm pro-life. And I'll tell you, there's been nothing more devastating.
Oh, what do you mean pro-life? Like what do you mean pro? Like no abortions?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say I'm pro-life, and I'd say I'm whole life. So I believe that. So for instance, like death penalty, although there may be situations where maybe I'd have a different position on it, but I think until they are able to fix the inequities in the justice system to ensure that disproportionately the folks that are being killed, if they find out later that they didn't actually do anything, disproportionately those folks are Black. So until they fix that, I have a hard time being like a hard advocate for the death penalty. But yeah, I'm pro-life. I think there's not been, I can't think of something that's been more devastating to our community than abortion. I mean, if you consider 50% of us have been aborted before we were born, 50%.
Wow, really?
Yes, 50%. One out of two pregnancies ends in abortion in the Black community. It's really out of control. And anytime you try to pose something that would try to minimize those numbers to Democrats, it's a no-go.
Well, I just gotta ask. Let me ask you this, because this is one of the things that the Black community right now is like, I'm just gonna say it's very fucked up, and I'm just gonna be honest. With the situation we're in, the lack of power, lack of economic, political situation we're in. I mean, when I talk a little bit negative about that, I'm like, would it really be better if there was 20 million more niggas here? I mean, if we was doing a better situation, I would understand. But the situation we're in now, and
it would be more than that. It would be more than that, because so if you figure that there were 20 million abortions, but populations multiply.
Their kids, yeah.
Right. So populations multiply. So you're really you're talking about, I don't know, we could be 60, 70 million.
Now
80 million of us. Now consider the political power a size of a population of that size could have. Matter of fact, early on in civil rights, in the civil rights movement, almost all of the civil rights leaders were pro-life, and many of them were actually against birth control. And actually, and they were against birth control because they realized that strength in numbers. So the more of us there ends up being, the better off we're going to end up having. Now, granted, that was before, we were at 80% out of wedlock birth rate.
Yeah, okay.
So we're in a different dynamic now. So I don't know that they would be advocating against birth control at this point, but it's an interesting point.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, the political power, but that would come with that would be amazing. But that would be assuming it would be politically astute and not giving all that not how we give all our political power to one party today. It could if we had 80 million of us doing the same thing, it could be a lot worse. So it's just like, to me, it's like a double-edged sword. If we had our infrastructure together, then I would not be for abortion. But it's just the way we got so much we got to fix now. I mean, the power and numbers thing, the people who run the world is a small group, you know what I mean? And, they're just super intelligent, just use their brain to control the masses, you know what I mean? Yep. So, I think it is power and numbers depending on the situation. And if back then when we were on our shit, when black people were doing it very well, then of course it makes sense. We need as many black people as possible, because before the civil rights era, black people were doing incredible. Economically through the roof. The marriage was up, 2-family households was staying together through the roof. I don't know what that civil rights thing did.
Married at an 80% rate.
Yeah, exactly. We was actually doing well, had a power base, businesses. So we need as many people as we can in that situation. Right. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know what happened after civil rights. No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I would argue, part of the problem with the civil rights movement, and I suppose there was some positive things about the movement. But I think the thing that damaged us the most is forced integration.
Yeah, and I agree.
Now, if you think about it, the forced integration, so if you did integration the right way, white folks would be moving into black neighborhoods also.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's not what they did. They said, okay, you black folks, you collecting, you guys are pooling too many resources here. Let's split this up. Let's share this. And so now you can't get us to. We don't trust each other. Yeah. We don't support each other's businesses. Mm-hmm. If you want to do something the right way, you got to find the white version, right? Yeah. There's all of that stuff that's kind of built in. And I think much of that is due to forced integration. Obviously, there's aspects of the feminist movement that has been negative for our community, very much so. I frequently say that white feminism doesn't work for black women.
I think feminism, period, messes up because I think especially black women, I don't think women should have power. I'm just gonna split out and say, I know it sounds good. I don't think they should have any power. They're just gonna mess it up. All throughout humanity and history, there's never been a kingdom ran by women that's been successful. They all been ran by men. You know what I mean? So it's like, you give them power, they're gonna mess it up, man. So I especially black women, I just think the best place for a woman to be is under a man's protection and under his guidance, because unless the exception is unless she's extraordinary. All right, there are some extraordinary women, like the black woman who did them calculations for NASA. Somebody like her, she needs to be in the playing field with men. But for the most part, an average woman being out in the workplace, you're a burden, because now you got to worry about sexual harassment lawsuits. Because she don't want to work, so she got to easy way to get some money. You got to worry about her not performing as well, because men are going to perform better than her for the most part at these jobs. And I just don't think feminism has a place. And I think it's one big shit test. You know what I mean? Because they know they're not supposed to. They know they can't compete with men. They know they can't. They know they're not supposed to be doing a man's job. You know what I mean? And so, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, okay. So, I hear what you're saying. The thing is, it's not as much. Okay, so first wave feminism, I think everybody agrees with that. Almost everybody. Right to own property, to the right to vote, those things. Almost everybody agrees with that. That's a non-issue. It's the sort of later iterations of this that have, I think, become problematic. So one aspect that's been problematic is it seems that the only equity they're interested in is in jobs that seem to wield a certain amount of power. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, there's no lobbying to create equity in ditch digging jobs, or in brick masonry, or in window cleaning. The guys that are hanging outside of skyscrapers cleaning windows. Or any of those kinds of jobs, or logging, jobs. There's not a lot of clamoring for equity in those jobs. It seems to just be clamoring for equity in the powerful jobs. And of course, there's a problem there because more and more you're creating an imbalance with the folks that are okay. Look, if I mean, we I don't want to go too far down this trail, but in high school, 93% of the high school valedictorians and class presidents are female. 93%.
Currently, right now?
Right. And it's been that way for a long time. 93%.
Wow.
It's been that
That's
way.
Why men not going to college no more. That's why. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, I interviewed BGS Ibmore, Black Pill Gnostic.
Oh yeah, shout out to BGS. Yeah.
Yeah.
He don't like me a lot, but I don't know, but we. Shout out to him though.
Yeah, shout out to him. And he detailed the sort of history of this feminism, or the feminization of the education system. Mm-hmm. So basically, the way this went is there was an issue in the education, where white boys were not doing as well as the white girls were, and so they said, okay, we need to do something to fix this. There is a natural thing where girls will tend to develop fine motor skills at a faster rate, and are willing to sit down for longer periods of time and just do something that doesn't require a lot of movement. Whereas boys tend to the gross motor skills tend to develop those at a faster rate, and so we want to be running around and using that. And so they said, okay, let's try to make this in such a way so that the boys will be getting stuff that's going to be useful and helpful for them also. And so then it seemed like things were cruising along, and then they said, you know what, we don't want to do that anymore. We're going to revert. So they saw that when they made those changes, it actually created a better situation, and more
of course,
more equity, I suppose. I don't really like that word, but I'm stuck with that word right now. More equity. But they said, you know what, we don't want to do this anymore. We're going back. And so they decided to do that. And now, again, like I said, we have this 93% valedictorian and class presidents in high school are female. And is that because the females are smarter and more capable than the guys at a 93% at that kind of rate? Of course not. It's not that at all.
No.
It's the way that the educational product is being delivered. And also, I think what this definitively shows is that boys and girls are different. And I know you're not allowed to say that. You're supposed to say we're all the same, and that culture has, caused us to, culture has made us different. It's these, biases in society and like this. It's the nurture argument. But the thing is that you can't beat evolution.
Yep.
It wins every time. And that we're different. So
we are different. And if you, once again, you say that, that's why, I feel for the guys in the professional realm, because you have to literally walk around and act like it doesn't exist. Like, I don't know what's going on in today's society where you can't acknowledge the biological difference between men and women. As far as the high school thing, that blew my mind, man, because, they say less men are going to college now, less men are pursuing higher education. For that reason, the education system's been feminized, and, it's really no incentive to go the route if you're going to be fighting against this uphill battle. See, that's why earlier I said, I know it's kind of sound off base. That's why I said I don't think women should have power, because you give them an inch, you're going to take a mile, right? You gave them their rights the first time. Look what they've done. They didn't took over everything, you know what I mean? Because we allowed them to, because you gave them an inch, and now first you gave them the right to vote and all the other stuff. Okay, cool, they can have that. Then they say, hold on, I want more. They see men can do this, men having multiple partners, or men doing all this, and the fact that men can do this, they want to do that too. I think Sigmund Freud called it penis envy. So I just think, man, because of, and then what, doing that detriments society, because now the men aren't going to be able to develop to their full capacity, because they got stuck worshiping the woman in that woman valedictorian, woman homecoming queen, the king, whatever. It's always about worshiping her, and it starts at a young age in the high school. So I'm thinking all this stuff handicaps men. If you don't have solid men becoming adults, you're not going to have a solid society, which is why America right now is declining, because we're not raising up solid men, because we want to worship the woman all the time, because we gave them all this power and rights. And when you give them power and rights, they don't reciprocate. They're not trying to help you out. They're going to help other women out, and they're going to help other sissy men out. But as far as heterosexual masculine men, they're going to look at you and you're on your own, even though it's because of heterosexual masculine men that have put them into power. So give them an inch, and that they didn't feminize the whole world. Feminize the whole country. And that's why they should, I call me old school. They need to be in the kitchen, and they need to be raising kids. They don't need to be out in society, in my opinion, because they're just going to ruin it. Except for unless they're exceptional, unless they have exceptional talent. Average women are a burden to society if they're out of work, in my opinion. And I just think they overhype women a lot. They're not that special. They're not performing that well at these jobs. They're actually, companies are losing money trying to accommodate them. It's just, I just think we need to put men back into that number one position before China takes all of us over. Because other countries, they got patriarchies. Women can't compete with men at all. So if America is this feminized place run by feminism, you got Russia, you got China, you got Iran, you got all of them still ran by strong males. When those things collide, the strong males are going to win each and every time. It's just his nature. So, I love women. They have their place and they have their value. But this trying to compete with men thing and trying to be like a man, trying to do what men do, and like you said, trying to compete with jobs, these powerful jobs that are in the hands of men, because we're more linear thinking, we're more logical. I just think, they need to sit their ass down. I'm sorry, I lack of better terms, but I know it's not going to happen. But and that's what we see in the high schools right now. And you gave him an inch, and they took a mile. And now the whole no more wood shop. I was the last. I saw wood shop get took out. No more, none of this stuff that helps you develop. When I was in high school for 1 year, I seen them. There was welding, and they took it out. And then after that, it was over with.
Yeah.
Now, men growing up with no skills. But yeah, go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, no. I hear you. You know, I don't.
I know it's misogynistic. I know. I'm a misogynist, but
well, I don't have an issue with. I don't have an issue with women working, you know, whatever job they want to work, and doing whatever it is that they want to do. I'm fine with that. My issue is that there should be some sort of, you know, equal clamoring for all levels of things. I mean, so let's have as many women being, you know, like I said,
pure equality. But do they really want that? I mean, what you're saying, though, that's logic and common sense. I mean,
look. I think what happens when you have okay, so one thing that Jordan Peterson frequently references is this research that was conducted in the Scandinavian countries, and where they're the most egalitarian society in the world now. They've done the most to sort of, you know, blue can be for girls too, pink can be for boys too, you know. They've done as much of that as possible and have pushed girls and incentivized girls to do the traditionally male jobs, and that tends to be the STEM fields, in where women tend to prefer jobs that deal with people. Men tend to prefer jobs that deal with things. And so that's just a sort of an evolutionary thing that's built into us. So when they created all of this, you know, equality and egalitarianism and everything in the country, what they found out was that it didn't do what they thought it was going to do. They thought they were going to end up with more women as engineers and whatnot. But what actually happened is it went the other way. When people are given the choice, actually have freedom to choose what they want to choose, they double down on what nature dictates. So you ended up with more women being nurses and more women choosing those kinds of jobs. Now, is that because women are less capable? Of course not. You know, of course not.
When it comes to STEM? When it comes to STEM?
Well, I'm saying. Because
I think women are less capable when it comes to math, engineering.
Yeah, but I think the issue there is an issue of you have to like, with a passion, not just have the natural ability, not just have the intelligence, but you have to like sitting in a room by yourself, staring at numbers and abstract concepts. And usually that's not the kinds of stuff that women want to do. Now, that's not because they can't do it. It's because they're wired not to want to do that. And they're wired to want stuff like family.
Which do you think they're wired?
Was more social.
Well, can it be argued that since they're wired that way, that they are less capable of doing than like mathematical equations and engineering and architecture? Since we're wired to be able to do things like that, and they're not wired, then wouldn't we be able to say that, okay, they are less capable because their brain is not wired to be able to, that should be, I think that should be talked about in society so we can stop wasting time. I do think because they're wired differently.
But there's a difference between intelligence and what is it? What am I looking for? Intelligence, you know, the ability to do something and the inclination to do something. If you lack the inclination, if you have no desire to do it, so I mean, here's a good example. So, I mean, I'm a musician. I've been a musician my whole life. When I was very young, I was 6 when I started playing, started practicing, and I had some really great advantages. My dad is a great musician, so I got lessons, 2 or 3 lessons, a week, and an attentive ear on the practice room. But I'm going to tell you, no matter how much natural ability I had, if I didn't have the inclination to sit in the practice room and spend hours and hours practicing, then nothing comes after that. And that's actually the factor I think that is in question here. And I think that also is the factor that I think the sort of social engineers think that they can monkey around with. They think they can make people want to do stuff that they don't want to do. And no, you can't make them do something that they don't want to do. People are allowed to do what they want to do, what makes them feel fulfilled. And it is
now.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying for now, until they.
For now, right?
Until you turn to a communist and they're going to assign you something. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing that was happening. But that's all I was saying.
All right, man. Some nice, spicy conversation. One thing that I try to do on my platform is, I invite folks that think differently, and I think one of the most important things that we can do, and this is to maintain a civilized society, is to be able to disagree and to be able to hear things that we don't agree with, hear them presented passionately, and be okay with that. We can passionately disagree. We can, and it's going to be okay.
Yes, and that's what we need more of, because everybody gets so triggered, and then they want to just, I'm not your friend no more. That's the beauty of this space, because it's like the first time where like Black men have been able to talk and even talk about your differences and not be a fight, or not nobody get killed, or nobody, so that's what I like about this. So, and that's one of the reasons why I keep going, man. This is the fact that I love this. I just love the fact that we can talk. If you got a difference, oh well, see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? See you tomorrow. You know what I mean? So that's what I like about it, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks very much, and I will be in touch with you. I'm sure we'll be doing some further collaborations in the future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man, and salute to you, brother.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, peace out. Yep.